Yeah, hey all. I guess Jyoti don't know. She might. What could be the reason she did not join yet? So we'll start the class. And so Raghu. So there is a new joinee today, Neha. And so Neha, we have Sandeep and Raghu in the class. Okay. And yeah. So today I want to configure Apache and plugin, and I guess Raghu, we have done with you this topic, so but I just want to do that topic today. And so yeah, all these days we were doing about WebSphere. And so before starting class, I just want to stop all the services so that system performance would be good. So give me a moment. If there are any unnecessary processes, I'll stop it first. So maybe Sandeep, you can note it down. Services.msc, it's in Windows. If you type services.msc in the run prompt, and run prompt, you can get run prompt by pressing Windows and R keys together. So if you press services.msc, you will get this screen, and which shows running services in the system. Even it could be a server, it shows in the server. So right now I know few processes which runs in my laptop, so a desktop, sorry, laptop. I want to check whether they are running. So they are stopped. Okay, that's cool.
Praveen, are you recording the session?
Yeah. I'm recording.
Okay, thank you.
It's okay. So inetmgr is a shortcut to open Internet Information Services. I was saying IIS in the initial class. It is a Windows web server, and this web server is available default in all the operating systems. I mean all the laptops, desktops. And today, since I want to configure front-end Apache, I just want to make sure to avoid conflicts. I want to stop it. Seems like it is stopped. Okay, I'm stopping it. Fine, it is stopped. Fine. Okay, it is stopped. Okay, so yeah, Sandeep, we were dealing only as of now we have installed, yeah, IBM Installation Manager, and then WebSphere. We have seen how to install in silent method, and we have seen how to install in graphical method when we were trying to install WebSphere on Raghu's system. And so yes, we have seen how to deploy application and how to check existing application configurations, and we have seen how to check existing configuration, and we have accessed Snoop URL from the default application. And so let me open the notes. Yeah, that's fine. And yes, we have checked the next topics. Jyoti, we did not cover, but yeah, in Sandeep class we have checked about Java heap dumps and thread dumps, all those things. Well, so now today what I want to do is we have seen applications and we have seen how to restart them and how to access them. So today I want to integrate it with front end. So in general, in the companies, right, we have discussed in the very first class, you could have IIS or Apache or IBM HTTP Server. So here in our class, we have IBM HTTP server. It is provided by IBM, and this can be configured on Windows, and even it can be configured on IBM provided OS like AIX. And then, yeah, after installing web server, you can integrate it with WebSphere using plugin. So we'll install, and we'll see how to integrate with them. First, let us go ahead with installing IHS. And Neha, if you want, you can unmute yourself when you are going, when you want to talk. Since I'm getting some traffic noise, I'm muting you. Okay. Okay. Uh, there is already HTTP server installed in my system. WebSphere app server files. Hmm. HTTP server. Okay, I believe it is uninstalled, and just these are the remaining files after uninstalling WebSphere. Let me check the packages are there in the system. Yeah, it is not there. Installation manager, WebSphere, only these two are there. Okay, so HTTP server is not configured. I just want to check whether services are there. Okay. Okay, Apache is not there. So what I'll do, I'll just remove all the files. When you uninstall any application like WebSphere or IHS, give me a moment. క్లాస్లో ఉన్నా నువ్వు చింతల దగ్గరికి వచ్చిన కాల్ చేయండి క్లాస్ అయిపోతే వచ్చి పికప్ చేసుకుంటా చెప్పలేను సిక్స్ వరకు అయిపోతే చూద్దాం అయితే వచ్చా కాల్ చేయి ఫ్రీ ఉంటే వచ్చి పికప్ చేసుకుంటా ఓకేనా సరే సరే బాగా చలో బాయ్ sorry for that guy sorry for that guys I was getting call from office. Okay, so when you uninstall Apache or even WebSphere, you'd have some files. If it is on Windows or even it could be on Linux, you can just delete them once you uninstall the application. So I'm deleting existing files. Okay, so first let us see about installation part, then we'll discuss about the subject. So let me open the software. IHS. And so this is a software I have downloaded from IBM website. So I'm having IHS 7. And if you did observe, we were installing WebSphere through installation manager. So even if you have IHS latest version like 8.5 or 8, you have to use installation manager to install front-end IBM HTTP server. So I'm having older version IHS 7 which is compatible to the WebSphere 8.5. So for this we don't need IBM installation manager, you can directly install. And Windows, what my experience is, it will get attacked with virus very easily. So that's why we get we don't understand why application is configured in Windows sometimes. So what my experience is zip files won't get corrupt so easily. So before installing any soft application, and if you want to make sure that everything works well, so better extract the moment when you would like to install it so that the configuration would be correct, so that the configuration will come correct. I thought to do even plugin today, but since Jyoti did not join, we'll if Jyoti joins, we'll do plugin. If not, we'll do plugin in the next class.
It is a express.
Yeah, we'll discuss Raghu after the class.
Once you confirm, accordingly I will plan.
Yeah, man. Even this weekend I'm tight. I'm having some office weekend activities in the office also. The activities to perform, do
Same
some work from home activities are there.
from today
Happens.
I need to join.
Huh?
I do have some activities which is scheduled to me.
Yeah.
So
I was like saying this class from Monday to Friday continuously, and I'm having some personal works, office works. We'll plan out. We'll see what we could do.
road meets on Sunday, Praveen. As
Huh?
road meets on Sunday, as we discussed it, right?
I want to make it on Monday or ago. The same thing. And
Now
see.
I'm leaving this thing to Sandeep only. I'm sorry.
I mean, whatever whatever
Sandeep,
you.
Sandeep need to decide. That's it. Sandeep accept or will accept.
I don't know. I mean, what time? Is it Monday or Sunday? I don't know. I'm confused.
Okay, I mean, yeah, Sandeep. What I would suggest is, which till now whatever we have done, you try to do practice, in this weekend. And if you have any doubts, right, we will keep practice session on Monday. If you guys are stuck in anywhere, we'll take remote access, and then we will try to resolve that issue on Monday.
Oh, okay.
That's the top.
Yeah, Raghu?
You are making us to compromise.
Enjoy the weekend, Raghu. Why, always work, office, classes. Sometimes you should take break, buddy.
Yeah. I but
Think about me. Morning I'm going to office. After coming, I'm taking classes.
after
See how many works I would.
after the class I need to join the DR, okay? DR which is to be completed by Sunday afternoon. We get to Gaya.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So yeah, I mean, I had a really tough week this whole week. I did not take any break, right? So I'm having lined up with some works. So I want to finish those things in the weekend. And let us come back on with fresh mind on Monday.
I thought you were going for a movie, Prabhu.
Yeah, man, enjoy the movie, Raghu. Huh? Why?
No, I just canceled the movie ticket here because of the DR activity. I just
Oh,
canceled the ticket.
uh, okay, okay.
Oh, that's
I know, man. US. I was in Canada. People really don't work in the weekends and Canada. Just want to be lazy. They work Saturday, Sunday,
yeah.
right,
Yeah,
Sandeep?
yes, we did work for 24 days. That's
Oh man. So Neha, you are able to see the screen, right? And it's audible, right?
It's audible and I'm able to see the
Oh,
screen. It's
cool.
taking a lot of time to copy.
Yeah, I'm extracting the zip file which IBM has provided, and generally this, it affects some performance if we are recording. Since I'm recording, right? Yeah, it takes a little bit more time
No,
than the usually it takes.
I usually also takes.
And Raghu, I guess not many topics are left on for you. I mean, anyways, you can continue all the classes. Maybe SSL and some file architecture. We can discuss about Linux commands.
sir. One thing is very crucial topics are still there. That is, data
SSL.
source is there, SSL is there.
Data source we did not cover. I thought we have covered.
Data source is also a tough one. SSL is a OCN. It's enough here.
Data source I thought. Data source I thought we have done. We did not do
No,
it.
oh, I will done with the IHS. I know that. And there is one more topic which is patching work is there. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
why to think about completion? There are more things. Okay.
Okay, okay. No worries.
And Praveen, one thing is like, do you have any web server you have?
Web server like.
Or like any sites, websites like which we need to configure SSL, SSL certificates and everything. Do you have any websites?
See, webs. I don't have SSL part. If you want to, at the most, right? Vendors they'll give trial SSL SSLs. We can do those things, but technically it is very tough to implement the whole architecture of SSL.
Okay. And Praveen,
Logic,
again,
yeah.
I'm reminding you like Liberty.
You want to check about Liberty
Yeah,
profile?
Liberty. Actually, but the initial days only I told you, right? Liberty profile.
I don't remember, but that's fine then. We'll try to do initial. Generally, I don't say Liberty profile. That's fine. We'll try to do then. That should be
Because
okay.
8.8.5 it's a hot cake, right?
Mm-hmm. Liberty they don't use in the real time, but that's fine. We will try. We'll see what we could do on Liberty profile. Okay, and so installation part it is simple. We just need to run an executable file. So I'm just going with that. So let me install it. accepting the license. I want to configure.
One question,
Yeah.
Praveen, at present we are doing everything in Windows, right? But working,
No, not everything. Only few things. I mean, yeah.
in real time we won't find the GUI part, right?
Yeah. So here, what it could happen here, right? So we have seen how to create response files, right? In webs. Sorry, while creating VAS
Yeah,
installation.
silent mode.
So like silent mode, yeah. So like that, we can create response files and we can install. So we'll using response files. We'll install applications.
But Praveen, like a company like IBM, if you are working on GUI mode, they will see uh, we don't know anything. That's why it's better to practice on
Yeah.
silent, right?
Yeah, but IBM, sorry, this WebSphere I couldn't find 8.5. We'll see if we could some 8.5 software, which we could install on
Mhm.
Linux. If we could get the software, we'll try to create response files and we'll try to do
Like
that as
Praveen,
well in
in
IHS.
my PC, has been right 8.5.5. I think so. In
Okay,
that
yeah.
it is related to Linux, I believe. Let's have a look on Monday. If it is for
You're having IHS software?
let me check it out, and if it is there, means definitely we will write out
Uh,
now on my virtual, which is Linux, right?
sure, sure. Yeah, yeah. We'll try to create response files and we'll try to install. No worries about that. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll do that. Yeah. If you have it's really cool, then we'll do
Yeah,
that.
sure, sure.
Yeah.
If not, also I will recollect from my mates or anybody. I will do it.
Okay. Yeah. We can do that. Yeah. Okay. I'm just choosing the path where I can install IHS. These are the ports. 80 is default HTTP port, and the administrative port for IHS is 8008. Okay, here I just gave it can use my desktop user for administrative privileges, and here I'm just creating one. So this admin user, it can be used if you want to do any configurations related to IHS. So if you change any modifications, it could ask for administrative username and password. So in those situations, you can use this username. So I'm just creating the username for admin purposes. It's just giving a summary. Okay, so I have installed IHS, and if you talk about services for in real time, you could, if it is Linux, right, you can start and stop using Apache CTL commands. Just let me open the notes. Okay, so if it is a Linux, you can go to the bin path, and from the bin you can execute Apache CTL start and Apache CTL stop, graceful start, all those things. So you can use Apache CTL commands to start and stop Apache web server. And here, if it is being Windows, you can see the service in services.msc. If you see IBM, yeah, so it is not started yet. We can start it manually. Okay, and for the test purpose, any web servers, right, if you once you configure, you can access it. It will have default home page, so you can access default home page by accessing its host name, or else or just typing by localhost. So yes, this is the default page of IBM HTTP server, and so I'm able to access, so it is working fine. And in your office, you may not install, you may take remote access and install the web server. So in those situations, you may have to access using host name. So let me access with the host name. So even with host name, you can access the web server. And about configuration part, one of the important file about configuration is http.conf. Config, yeah, http.conf. So any configuration, even while integration, and even if you add any websites, all these configurations would be recorded here. So based on our requirement, we have to update this configuration file. So this is one of the important configuration file in Apache. And regarding logs, access.log and error.log are major important logs. If you access any URL, all those would be recorded in access.log. Even uh, errors would get recorded here. So to start with, few error codes, 200, here we are seeing 200 codes. The moment we are accessing the default page, it is getting recorded 200, 200, 200. So 200 is a error code for successful message. So since we are getting 200, so there are no issues with the web server. So that's why we are getting 200. Suppose if you suppose the integration between IHS and WebSphere is not correct, or else if JVM went down, then you may get the most common error code is 503. So 503 means JVM is down. One second. Yeah. So these are a few common error codes. People will come back and people will come back and say sometimes they'll access some URL and they will say I'm getting this error. I mean, they will not say error, but when you probe the user, you will find out they are getting 404 document not found. So in this error code, right, the scenario could be something like the user might be trying to access the wrong URL. So when they are trying to access the page which does not exist, then they will get document not found because that code won't exist in our var file or which in the deployed application. So I'm saying the common error codes, and sometimes user will not realize they will get this error, authentication error, authentication 401. Authentication error means users do not have privileges to access that URL. In those cases we should ask them to reach business users so that they will give authorization to access the URL. And so 503 is like when JVM is down, we'll get this error. So these are the common error codes. So fine, let us go back to the IHS. So these error codes would be recorded here in access and error.log, and so it even records operations going on in the web server. So these are important logs, access dot and error.log. Give me a moment. Sorry for that. And the process ID of Apache, it would be recorded in http.conf. And very few cases when you have issue with services, sometimes they will delete this file and they will restart the server. But then senior guys who do initially, you no need to do. So the whole point is you'll get the process ID details in this file http.pid, and okay. And yeah, this is a brief introduction. So we have seen how to install WebSphere, and now we have installed IBM HTTP Server. The next point, we can integrate with plugin. I'm just wondering, Jyoti did not join today. Fine, we'll go ahead with creating plugin as well. Maybe I'll ask her to join some other class. Okay, and I want to avoid conflicts, so I want, because these all profiles are already integrated to some DMGR. So I want to create a new profile and then I want to integrate it with the IHS. So let me create profile. Yeah, well, again, we have seen how to install profile in silent method. If you want to go with command mode, you can use manage profiles, and using manage profiles, you can install the profile silently with command mode.
Ravi, you will be discussing about this conf file, matlab what are the important load modules in it, or it's just this much only?
About
Ha,
http.conf.
conf file, right.
Okay, I mean, we'll see based on our requirement. As of now, even while configuring plugin, you'll see some updates, and even while configuring IHS, you have to updates. We have to enable some modules. So based on our activity, yeah, we do keep on use http.conf file, and we'll see what are the modifications would be done in the config
Okay, we'll
files
see it in further
based on
classes.
our,
Okay.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, yeah. So even now, while configuring plugin, the configuration will changes
Hmm.
takes
Conf
place
file.
in http.conf. We'll see. Yeah, yeah. We'll see those things. So we have created a profile APP-SRV03. So I want to integrate our IHS to the application in this profile, and I want to extract so we'll be having plugin software. So through plugin software, we'll integrate IHS to WebSphere. So let me extract the plugin software. So I just set up so 106, and I'm starting the server here. Since we are starting it for the first time, it may take some time. So let me wait for a while. Yep, so let us access the existing applications. The profile which we have configured is started. So using its administrator console port, I'm accessing its admin console. Again, since we are opening it for the first time, it may take a little long time to open. I want to check the port with which we can access the default application. So we should see wc underscore default host port number. So using that port, we can access the applications in this profile. So I have installed, in the typical method, I have selected typical while installing. So it will take default applications. So there would be a default application, and so when we have deployed application, we have seen how to access the existing applications, and for that we should know the ports with which applications are configured. You can check the port details here. So wc underscore default host, so the applications which are configured in this profile can be accessed using 9084, and we have seen how to check the context root. So this is context root is slash, and manage modules, default application. So view deployment descriptor. Yeah, if you click or select URL, you will see here the URL pattern. Whichever is in the URL pattern, you can access those URLs. So we know the host of this server. Yeah, I'm using as localhost, and we know the port wc default host. We know the port. I'm using that port, and we have seen context root as slash, and then we have seen a URL pattern, which is one URL pattern as snoop. Okay, yeah, so we are able to access the application configured in this profile. So we have to integrate this application to front-end Apache server, and so Apache, the default port of Apache is 80. So that 80 port would be integrated to this 9084 once we integrate, and then you don't need to use this port once you integrate front-end Apache with this WebSphere. So let us integrate and see the difference. I'm logging out. So plugin software, so we can integrate using plugin software, and so the whole thing is here is in the plugin software. It will ask for the front-end Apache where exactly Apache is configured, and to which profile in the WebSphere you want to integrate the front-end Apache to WebSphere. So it will ask details for Apache server and WebSphere. We have to give those details, and it will integrate both the servers. That's fine. If you check this, it will just give some documentation. That's fine. So accepting the license. Yeah. So here it is just asking, the same plugin can be used for Microsoft Internet Information Services and even for IBM HTTP version 7. So we would be having plugins for different versions, like based on your version you have to download the appropriate plugin. So apart from IBM HTTP Server, IIS, yeah, there is Apache Web Server. There could be. I have not seen these servers installed in my environment. Here Lotus Web Server is there. Sun Java Web Server is there. So fine. So our web server is IBM HTTP Server, and the version is 7. So I'm selecting this option, so it will perform the configuration accordingly. And so if you have a web application server remote, then you can choose the remote option. But right now WebSphere Application Server, it is installed in my own laptop, so I'm selecting this option. So in real time it could be remote, then you have to select remote option and give the configuration details accordingly. So I'm going ahead with the local option. Okay, now it is asking for, let us read WebSphere plugin. I will be installed in directory. It is just asking for the location where it can configure. So I want to give the path as per my own choice. It is taking the default path where IHS will be installed, but we have installed IHS in a different path. So here we can create this folder. So let us create manually. Yeah. So I want to configure plugins here in this path. Next, and it is asking for WebSphere Application Server root folder. So it is taking some default root, but this is not the place where we have installed WebSphere. So I'll navigate and give the VAS root. Those are Game of Thrones, okay? Don't get confused. IBM WebSphere App Server. Okay, so I'm giving VAS root folder. So now it will check the existing profiles. In general, yes, in the real time you would be having one profile, and so right now since we have multiple profiles, it will check and it will let us know the existing profiles. Yeah, so here I want to integrate it with app server 03, the server which we have configured just now. So I'm selecting the profile to which I want to integrate. I'm going ahead, and see, now it is asking for http.conf. So here it will update the settings whichever we, I mean the integration modifications will be done in the http.conf. So let us browse and select it. Give me a moment, I'm getting call from office. నువ్వు వచ్చేస్తావా, క్లాస్ నడుస్తుంది. నడుస్తుంది. ఇక్కడ వస్తే దొరుకుతుంది, అక్కడ సిగ్నల్ దగ్గర ఆటో చూస్ చూడు, దొరకకపోతే కాల్ చేయాలి. వీళ్ళకి బ్రేక్ అయితే తీసుకోలేము. ఆ, చూడవా, ట్రై చేయవా. ఓకేనా? Yeah, sorry for that. Okay, so where did it go? Fine. So we have to select, it is asking for configuration file http.conf. So we should let plugin know where exactly our http.conf file is. So we have configured http, and in the conf, so this is where our http config file is there. So I give the location of http.conf file. Next, and this server will be created in the profile which we have selected. So this is a web server where it will have integration details between IBM HTTP Server and WebSphere. So we'll see after integration, where exactly this will be created, and we'll check the configuration details of this web server. And this is a plugin config file, plugin-cfg config file. So this file will have integration details between HTTP server and WebSphere, and this is one of the important config file. If you do any modifications in the application in the WebSphere, you have to synchronize these things. So for this, I'll show you the steps how we synchronize this file. And so when you do any, so you can just remember, if you do any major modifications in the application level, those things should get synchronized with this file. So we'll see these things after integration. Next. Yeah, it is just giving the summary. So let us go ahead with the plugin configurations. By the time it gets configured, give me a moment. I have to make office call. By the time it gets configured, give me a moment. I have to make one office call. ఏమైంది దొరికిందా లేకపోతే రావాలా బ్రేక్ తీసుకొని వీళ్ళని ఆగమని చెప్పి వీళ్ళని ఆగమని చెప్పి రావాలా దొరికింది ఆటో సరే సరే ఓకే రైట్ yep okay so now plugin is configured so let me finish it and yeah so when we do any major modifications we have to restart the services so let me restart the service so let me stop the profile so this is a profile to which we have configured plugin I'm stopping its JVM so once it is stopped we will stop IHS as well okay so server I have stopped the server let me stop the IHS as well so first let me log into profile and see what are the changes occurred and these things you don't really do very often in the office but you should have the knowledge to troubleshoot and so these things only when you configure new applications when you create new environment or when you do migrations in those stages you will do these things but while troubleshooting you should know how to check so once we configure once we check configurations we'll see logs where exactly we need to check logs to troubleshoot So Neha, you're done for the week. So tomorrow and after tomorrow, it's your weekend now.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Anyways, you got the access to the share drive,
Yeah,
right?
I'll try to install tomorrow and
Yeah.
see the backup videos and all the doubts
Yeah.
I'll ask on Monday.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, Monday we'll do only practice session. Maybe we all can join at the same time 5:30. So whoever is stuck in anywhere will resolve those issues. And from Tuesday we'll cover the syllabus. Okay. Sometimes okay. Sometimes you will not get the cursor. If you keep on waiting, you won't get the result. So just press enter and it will show the output. So that is what happened with me. Fine. Okay. So profile is started. So let us open and check the difference. I mean, check the configuration changes happen in WebSphere level. Okay. So the major changes is web server will be created here. So while configuring plugin, you might have observed web server and the name was web server 1, and I told that this server would be created in the profile. So yes, so this is the one which is created, and you can log in and check the status. You can check the configuration status, and right now the status is showing down because we still did not bring the IHS up. So once we bring the IHS up, it will become green. And here I know there will be some differences. I'll let you know what it is. So well, web server name, that's fine. Host name, that's fine. Type, yes, we have front-end IBM HTTP server, that's fine. This is where IHS is configured, right, and this is where the config file is there, that's right. And the service name of my IHS is not this. It is by default, since it is WebSphere 8.5, it is taking as version 8. So my service name is different. So I'll let me copy the service name and rename it. Properties. So this is the service name. So I'm just renaming the service name, And
But why did it take IBM HTTP Server 8.0?
yeah, because this version, my WebSphere version is
Okay,
8.5.5.
because of the VAS version, by default it
Uh,
integrated IHS with the same.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly, that's right. Maybe that is the best suitable for IHS 8.5.5, but I couldn't get IHS 8, so that's why I'm integrating it with IHS 7. Fine. So now we have done some changes, and yes, if we do some changes, we should restart the servers, and we should. I was saying you there is a config file, and we should upgrade. So now we have done some changes. So these changes should be implied in plugin config file. So there is a plugin config file. If you go to plugins, and if you go to config web server, plugin-config.xml. So this is a config file where all the details of your IHS and all the details of your WebSphere would reside, and this plugin config file would be referred to the http.conf. I was saying this is one of the major config file. Any configurations would get recorded in this http.conf. So right now see here WebSphere plugin config plugin-cfg.xml. So this is automatically added while configuring plugin. So all configurations in your environment would get recorded in http.conf. Based on your configuration, it's always better to know like what are the modifications it would have happened. And yes, it might be loading this module, and some Windows level DLL, even it is using this DLL. So that's fine. So these are the two updates which are happened in http.conf. So right now, since I have changed the service name, I should propagate the changes. For that, you can click on first thing, generate plugin. So once you generate plugin, it will just create the file in your WebSphere environment. We'll see if it gives a path. Yeah, it has created somewhere cell node. So the same plugin config file will exist in your node also. In this app server srv03 cells, and then in the nodes and in the servers, and here there is a plugin-config.xml file. So now these changes have been generated here, and the same setting should be propagated to your IHS plugin, the file which I have shown here. Server plugins, and then so here those changes should get synchronized. So for that, I should select the web server, and I should propagate plugin. So once you propagate, the same plugin configurations would be returned to your plugin file in IHS. So if you see, yeah, see here, it is saying that the plugin configuration file is propagated from this path to this path. It is saying the details. So now it is propagated. And so since we have done these changes, so let us restart the profile first. Stop server. So I'm restarting the profile, and then we'll bring the IHS out and see whether integration is done properly.
The generation of plugin, we need to again stop and start JVM.
Yeah, if you do, yeah, it's always better to restart once you generate and propagate plugins. So let us start it back. Okay, so now we have restarted profile. So configurations are all seems to be good. So let us bring IHS up as well, and then we'll see whether integration has been configured correctly. Well, let us log in here. It is taking more long time this time. Okay, so web servers. Let me check it. As I have started front-end Apache server, the web server should be up. So let us check that first. Yeah, it is up, and obviously the web server should be up. Yeah, this is being standalone. We are not checking the status. We couldn't check the status here. And so applications. Yeah, application is up. So first let us check this application whether we are able to access from the WebSphere level. So yes, we are able to access. So now request is going directly through to WebSphere. I mean through application server profile through 90884 port. So let us check whether IHS is functioning well. Yeah, IHS is working fine. So now if I remove this port, the request should go to IHS, and then through IHS the request should reach WebSphere, and we should get the response even if we don't use this port. So let me do that. So now the default port is 80. So that 9084 port should get integrated with 80, and we should get result. So let us see. Yeah, you can see now the same application we are able to access without using 9084. So now IHS is integrated with WebSphere. So this is how our architecture would be in the real time. And now let us check the major log files in the plugin also. So in the plugin also you would see the log, plugins, logs, web server, http underscore plugin.log. So this is a log related to IHS and WebSphere integration. If you find any issues, right, those will get recorded here. So plugins loaded, all those things. So if at all there are any integration issues, so you know now, you know the URL, how to check the URLs of applications. You can access URLs individually with the port, with the WebSphere port, and then you can check front end without using this port. So if you are able to access this URL but you are not able to access this URL, means there could be some integration with, there could be issue with some integration. Maybe you have to restart the services and you have to check most of the times restarting service would resolve the issue. If it doesn't gets resolved, you have to check all these errors. So http underscore plugin.log, one of the important log file, and in the HTTP server level, access.log and error.log. So these are a couple of important log files. See now here, error.log, even whatever you are trying to access the application, so those applications are getting recorded here. So even if you see any issues with the application, you would see over here. So you will see the logs here. So these two are important log files. Error.log and access.log files are important log files from Apache level. And if you go to WebSphere App Server Profiles, App Server 03 logs, server 1, and here SystemErr.log, and SystemOut.log is important. SystemOut.log, you can check the logs here. What it is saying, so servlet installation successful, 712. Okay, so you can, so these are the important logs. If you see here, SystemOut, SystemErr, error.log, access.log, http underscore plugin.log. So if you are having any issues, you can check all these log files to troubleshoot your environment. And yes, you should know how to restart front-end Apache using Apache CTL command. So Neha, in your company, how are you restarting your front-end?
CTL only, and if port 443 is there, then sudo apache CTL.
Okay, fine. So using Apache CTL commands, you should know how to restart front-end. And WebSphere, anyways, we have seen how to restart the server, start server, stop server. This is used for application server. And deployment manager, as I said earlier, it doesn't really affects. When we install cluster, I'll tell you. When we federate, we'll tell you that, Neha, but we did not discuss this point. So deployment manager, even though deployment manager is down, and if application servers are up, you can able to access the applications. It doesn't deployment manager service doesn't really affect the application functionality.
Yes,
it is used.
It's just used for configuring and managing other servers that are hosted.
Exactly. Yeah. So you should know how to restart services using start server, and if required, deployment manager, start manager. And so this architecture is a very common commonly you use in your environment, like checking logs, restarting services. So these are very common in the office which we do. So restarting services, checking logs, we should know. And the plugin configuration you doesn't really do very often. This is like, you should know that, but you don't really do very often, right, Neha? You don't really get a chance to create plugin very often, right?
Right.
Yeah. And okay, so this is about integration with IHS. So any doubts so far?
This plugin we have installed using, we download binaries for plugin and then we have installed, right? In the similar way as we install bash binaries.
IHS, exactly, that's true. And Yeah, if it is the latest version 8.5, you have to use the same thing with installation manager. That's all.
Okay, and one more thing, this integration of the front end, matlab IHS with that of VAS, the when this integration is completed, the local host we are using is of web server, na?
No, the local. I mean, you are saying while configuring plugin, it is asking like where exactly the WebSphere is installed,
Yeah.
right? So there we selected WebSphere Application Server local. If it is remote, then there is something called web server. The name is web server. If it is remote, you should select that option and you should give the configuration details accordingly.
No, actually, I'm asking the URL. You showed na that after integration, we are able to access the URL of the application.
Exactly.
So this,
Yeah,
this
here.
local host is pointing to, matlab referring to web server host name, na? Or app server host name.
Okay, yeah, I'll tell you. It would be like this localhost, right? Well, yesterday we have discussed. So you would have something called yahoo.com, google.com. For all applications, you would have some DNS
Yes.
names. So yes, those DNS names would be integrated to this virtual host.
Web server.
I mean, so, yeah, these applications. So say in your application, right, it could be something called yahoo.com, something yahoo.com/snoop. It could be something like that. So this DNS name would be integrated, say, with my local host. So in your environment, so host name.
With the local host name of
It will be integrated.
with the local host name of my web server, it will be integrated.
IHS, yeah, exactly. Web server, yeah, that's true. It would be there. This application name yahoo.com would be integrated with this IHS name, and so you should be able to access the URL.
Here also it is in the same manner, na? Since we have not taken any domain name, it's just the local host name of the machine. So it is taking the local host name of the web server.
Exactly.
And port is not
Exactly.
required.
Yeah.
That 80, the default port 80 is not required. It's just host name.
Yeah, just host name. We'll try that also. Even if we take, okay, now I just change, as a host name. So if you just think practically, so this host name can be added in the DNS servers to yahoo.com, google.com, anything, right? The same host name. So if in DNS server this host name is mapped to anything XYZ or whatever, you should be able to access the same URL using that. Say example XYZ. So my DNS, my host name is configured in the DNS server such that it should get resolved. This name should get resolved with XYZ. Then if you just you use XYZ-/2, you should be able to access the application.
No port is required. Got it. Port is not a
port, yes, not required. Let us try. Even if you use port, as per my guess, it will remove the port and it will show the output. So let us use that in different browser. See, the port is removed and we got the output. You will get the output, but the default port of HTTP port is 80, and so this 80 is integrated with this 9084 port. Yeah, port is not required. And again, in your company, right, generally those DNS names would be integrated with the load balancer. Yeah, so you have F5 or some load balancer in your
load
company?
balancing, external load balancer, internal load balancer, and then web server and app server. इस तरीके से we have an integration. First we take a public IP, then domain name, NAT it with external load balancer, that sort of.
Okay, load balancer name?
Load.
Big IP something.
No, I don't remember. We say external VIP,
Okay,
internal
that's fine.
VIP.
No problem. No problem. Yeah, maybe you can try to know about it.
Okay.
Because the most commonly used load balancer is F5.
Okay.
And that is a vendor name is F5, and there is something other load balancer. Famous load balancer is Big IP. So yeah, even those DNS configurations would be integrated in the load balancer. and that would be in your internal architecture. You should try to understand and analyze your internal architecture, how exactly IPs and DNS names are integrated.
Yes.
So yeah, once you try to understand, then you'll get a picture. That should be okay. Yeah. And Sandeep, any questions?
No problem.
Okay. So Neha, any more
No.
questions? Okay, so yeah, even like I have few works. So this weekend I would be busy, and I want to relax as well. It was a busy weekend, weekdays for me. So you guys can take break and do practice in the weekend.
Okay.
And yeah, so Monday we'll see you again Monday at 5:30.
5:30. Okay.
So if 5:30, yeah, because everyone will join. Whoever is stuck in the practice, you can let me know. We will take remote access and troubleshoot the issue.
Okay.
And yeah, Neha, I'll ask Raghu. He's having Linux 6 version. I guess its size is less. I'll ask him to upload in the share drive. Once he uploads, I'll let you know. Or else you can try to get RHL in the Google. Fine. Okay then. See you guys on Monday 5:30.
Bye.
Thank you, Praveen. Have a great weekend.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks. You too. Have a nice weekend. Bye.